I almost did not film today because I don't know if you can tell, but it has been pouring here, heavy thunderstorm, and I was trying to get to the park, but I couldn't, and I finally came. It's still thundering. I don't know if you can hear, but I decided to come anyways, even though it's a little late. But here I am, and today I want to talk about a a question that one of my subscribers had, which was about relationships and how my subjects that I've been speaking about, how does that impact relationships? So I'm going to give you my experience from what I have learned through my relationships and share them with you. And maybe it might give you some insight to understand certain things. So in my life, I have had like four serious relationships, and all four of them mirrored my environment at home. Okay? All four of them mirrored my environment at home and the programming and condition and the beliefs that I had about myself. And it wasn't until 2021 that I started to understand patterns and I started to connect dots, and then I started to understand the bigger picture because I started to really understand myself. And when I started to understand myself, I started to understand what I had attracted. So what happens is that when you grow up in an environment that is abusive and you don't feel worthy, you're told you're not worthy, you're told you're stupid, you're told all of these things. When you grow up, you're going to attract and you're going to magnetize people who will affirm that to you. And it's an unconscious thing because you're not aware of it. And when you have these people in your life, okay, you're going to relate to them. And you're going to feel like, "Oh my god, this person understands me." So, what do I mean by that? So, let's say I'm going to give an example of actually this is what really happened, okay? So, when I met an ex-boyfriend of mine, when we first met, okay, this was unaware me. When we first met and we started talking and we started to get to know each other, we were relating and we were telling what we were telling each other, okay, was stories of that were low vibrational, that they were low vibrational stories of, oh, I was treated like this as a child, and and I know what anxiety is, and I know what depression is, and my ex did this and this to me and treated me like this, and I was treated wrong, and all of the turmoil that is inside someone. When you connect to someone, you speak to them and they tell you all these things about what they have experienced in their life, and usually it is going to reflect the same experiences that you've had in your life. You're going to be like, wow, this person, I finally found someone who understands me, because he knows what it is to be depressed. He knows what it is to have anxiety. He knows what it is, or she knows what it is to be depressed, to feel not worthy. Like, this person knows because he's telling me or she's telling me, and we're both relating in that level. We're both connecting in that level, and we're both finding each other like, wow, we're so similar. And on top of that, you have that conversation because your conversation is the most important thing. Like, what do you guys talk about? What is the theme that you guys are connecting on? And what is causing you to be like, wow, this person sees me? And you feel seen because they're basically telling you what you have been experiencing at home, or what you experienced period as a child, and that person also had that type of experience in their life. So you're going to fully relate and be like, wow, this person is just so similar to me. Like, this is amazing. This person sees me, and I see them. what I notice is that what happens is that, remember when you like somebody and you meet someone, there is a chemical that rises, right? There's a chemical, there's this blissful oxytocin thing that happens to you and that person. And the first few months is magic. The first few months, you guys really relate. You guys understand each other. You guys really feel like, you got it together, and you guys are meant to be together. But once that high starts to come down, okay, you're going to start to see the person's true personality come out, and the things that they say and do, and the way they react when you say something. And you're going to start to see and accept the behavior, because it's very similar to your experiences. It's very similar to what you've been conditioned to believe. Okay? And that high will crash, and now you're going to get the person's real personality start to come out. And the behavior is going to mimic, okay, your experience, your conditioning, and it's going to reaffirm to you that that is normal, that that is the way that is life, and that's how life works. Living under those circumstances, under that kind of lack, unworthiness, and separation and disconnect, because it's a total disconnect. And you're going to accept the abusive behavior. And by abusive, I mean verbally abusive and manipulative. And they could have narcissistic traits. They can have, it's a range of things. And you were not aware, okay, that you are magnetizing that to you. When you're unaware and you find someone who relates to you on the same level of conditioning, you're going to find like, wow, this person's meant for me. And then you're going to start to realize, oh my God, I'm living on eggshells all over again. I am afraid of expressing myself to this person because I'm afraid he might react a certain way or she might react a certain way. I have to be careful how I express or how I say things or what I do, because I am afraid that this person, I'm going to trigger them. So then you start to live walking on your tippy toes the same way that you've been doing your entire life. So I experienced that, okay? And I was always on tippy toes, on eggshells. I did not want to say certain things. I felt like intimate connection went from something that was natural to becoming like a job. It was no longer something that was natural. And I was so aware of this because I knew, like, your body tells you, like, no, like, I don't feel comfortable like this anymore. But you just still remain there because you have remained in your environment. So there's no reason why to change what's happening. You just kind of mold yourself into it, and you think that's what you deserve, and you allow all these things to play out. But you also play a role on that because it's your energy that is magnetizing your past experiences. You are the one unconsciously attracting that to you. So you will notice that you guys will be connected, but it's not a connection that is healthy. It's a very unhealthy connection because from both sides there is toxicity. There is a programming that is running together, and they're clashing, and there is no healing in that environment. There's no growth in that environment. There's just this density and this fear, because there's always, like, in the relationship, you're gonna have the person who is the submissive, the quiet, and then you're gonna have the person who is the abusive. In my case, it has always been, the male that has been the more aggressive, and I have been the one that stays quiet, accepts, and surrenders to that behavior, to that way of being treated, because as how I always behaved since I was little. I would not say anything. I would just swallow my emotions and bury them. And I would do that in my relationships. I would not say anything and I would just keep my emotions deep inside. And there were so many times that I would cry. There was one time that the argument was so ugly, and not just one time, there was several times. It was so ugly that I went into the bathroom and I locked the door and I sat in the bathroom crying so hard, feeling my heart breaking, because I was like, why does this happen to me? Why does this keep happening to me? And why do I have to feel this way? And I was in that bathroom for about a half hour, literally holding on to myself while my whole nervous system was falling apart, asking myself why. And I went through moments like that a lot. A lot. And I kept saying, oh, because you, oh, because you, oh, because it's, he's like that and he's like this and he does this. But it's like, yeah, but Susie, you have allowed it. You have accepted it. You have sat there and surrendered to it and not said anything about it. And because you were afraid of speaking, because you were never allowed to express. So since that person is mirroring that same environment, you don't express yourself. You can't express yourself because you feel that it's not safe to, and you're afraid of that person's reaction. Like you have always been afraid. And it was a total mirror. A total mirror. 2020 happened. Okay. And mind you, this was unaware Susie, unaware of what I was magnetizing to myself, what I was calling to my field, the people that I was allowing in my life. I was unaware. I would just see that it was the same kind of behavior and it was okay. It was okay because it had always been okay until it was not okay anymore. And I had that deep realization about things. So in 2020 came, the situation got even worse. Okay? Situation got worse, and I went through a very dark, depressive state. Not just because of, everything that was happening in the world during that time, but also because of the way that my relationship was, the way that I felt like I didn't matter, and how my health didn't matter, and how I wasn't important. Plus, spending right before the lockdown happened, like a few days prior, I spent a good half hour crying in this person's bathroom, okay, not knowing what to do with myself. And I remember walking out of the bathroom and saying, I'm going to go home. And the words that he said was, you go home, you're never going to walk through that door ever again. And I remember that I went and I laid down on that bed crying, feeling so hurt and isolated inside. And it was so painful. I woke up the next morning and he acted like nothing happened. I went home later that day. And then the lockdown happened. So lockdown happened. I just went through a very dark time when I had my meditation experience in 2021, because he ended up breaking up with me in January of 2021. Okay. And I started to do that's when I started to learn about emotions, the brain, the body and mind connection, neuroplasticity, epigenetics. I started to learn about all these things. I started to read. I started to see documentaries. I started to practice meditation. I mean, like I said before, I already would meditate, but I didn't know the science behind meditation. And I started to really dig deep, so deep into myself that after my experience meditating, I realized something. I was so unaware that I brought those experiences to me. I brought the same energy to me because that is the energy that I move through. That's the energy that I carry. And we are all energy. We all energy fields. We all have our own energy field. And when you have a certain belief about yourself and you were told all these things about yourself, is how you carry yourself in the world. You're going to bring those experiences to you that are going to match that energy that you carry, that energy that you live in. So that's why it was always okay for me to accept these kind of behaviors. And when I became conscious, I started to really see that, you know, it's not that it was his fault or my fault. We were both two unaware people connecting at the same type of energy of sadness and density and lack and disconnect. And we were connecting through our pain. We were connecting through our suffering. And that's how we connected. And that's why we felt like, oh, we're meant to be because we're so alike. It was just reaffirming my environment. And when I became conscious, I started to see and connect the dots and the patterns. And I was like, wow, like I have been choosing the same type of environment. The people were all mimicking that environment. And mind you, it was not just, it was like my first boyfriend that I ever had. Also very manipulative and abusive and would force me to do things. Okay. And I had one boyfriend who never made me official. Oh, hi guys. Who never made me official, who was very manipulative. And I was with him for like 4 years. Very manipulative. And my last boyfriend was basically very identical to how my father's behavior was. Hi guys. So when I became conscious and I had that experience, and my energy field was so open, and I still cared about this person, but I already knew that he was here to teach me a lesson. And I learned that my lesson was that I saw myself in him, and I was able to notice that I attract this to myself. I attract these situations to myself because that was what my environment was. That's what I was, what I was raised in and what I believed was normal. And I started to, in my own way, to forgive him and forgive myself because we both hurt each other in this process because we're both clashing. Even though I wouldn't say, I wasn't vocal or expressive, but we would have our arguments. And no matter what, it hurts to have to argue with someone. It's something that hurts you. So I know that we both hurted each other. But when I had that meditation experience and I became conscious, I made one mistake. I thought that because I had finally changed my energy and my energy was more elevated and I was more open and I understood things, I thought that I could help him. So I went back and we started talking again. I went back. But I realized one thing. At this point, we did not get back together. We were just kind of like hanging out once every 2 weeks or something like that. I started to realize something that I had felt inside me. I have known for a while when we were together, before we broke up, that many times that I would go see him, because I would always go to him, my body did not want to go there. My body did not want to be there. My body did not want me to drive there. My body was like, no. I don't want to go there. And I would still go. And I would still go. And I would keep going. And back like 2022, that we started talking again, that I saw him several times, my body was screaming to me no. While I thought that I could help him because I had changed and my energy was different and I was more elevated, I thought that I can help him and that I can help him work through his issues. It was such a big mistake because I could not help him. A person cannot be helped if they don't want help. And I thought that because my energy had become so expansive that it would influence him to want to change or to want to help heal himself. I was wrong. So what happens? I started to become very conscious of the patterns and the situation between me and him and how I didn't want to be there, how I did not want to be there for so long. And I would still make myself go because I felt like it was a job. Like it was like I was meant to go there. I had to do my job as a girlfriend. And all of these things were wrong. Like I was not listening to my body. My body was telling me, no, don't go there. Don't go there. You don't feel comfortable there. You don't want to be there. Don't go there. And I would still go. I would still go because since I was always in uncomfortable situations and accepted them, even though I felt uncomfortable in my body going there, I would still go because that was just normal. And I should have listened to my body. I should have listened to what I felt inside. That was my intuition telling me, no, don't do this anymore. You don't have to go there. So many times that I was like, my mind was like, you just need to break up. You need to break up. And all the time, he would be the one like, oh, I need time. He would go ghost on me. And instead of me being like, okay, let me just take this for real and not get back with him, I would just wait like a dummy. I would just wait for him to get back to me a month, 2 months later, whenever he decided to. When I knew that I knew internally that things were not working out and that I was not comfortable anymore and I wanted out, but I still stayed there. Like I stayed in my mom's and my dad's house. You get me? Like I still stayed there in a situation that was not making me feel good anymore. And it's because that's how I've always been. I survive in that. I've been surviving in that environment that I was surviving in that relationship too. On eggshells and accepting and not listening to what my body was telling me, or to not even my body but my intuition was like, don't go there. You don't want to go there. And it just became like a job. And once I became conscious and I made the mistake of trying to help him, thinking that because I was so aware now and I knew all these, I knew all these things, that I could help him. And that also backfired on me. And after that is when this entire thing just unraveled, where all of my wounds just started opening up. And after that, I started to really, really, really struggle. And not because of him. It's just that everything started to surface. Everything started to surface. Every unconscious wound and unconscious pattern started to just come up for me to see. And that is where I have been weaving myself through for the last 6 years. Hi, guys. I have more little ducks coming this way. For the last 6 years. So it does impact your relationship when you are unaware, because you accept to be treated the same way that you've been treated all your life. So if you don't know any better and you don't have an understanding of what it is to be treated right, when someone comes into your life to treat you the way you want to be treated, you're going to push them away. You're going to push them away, and you're going to choose the person that is going to that matches your energy and your conditioning and your programming. You're going to match that, and you're going to feel like you're being seen, but you're not. You're just relating to someone who is deeply hurt as you, and you guys are going to end up deeply hurting each other, and you're going to be stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in. And once you realize that, you're already like 1 or 2 years into the relationship, and you don't know how, then you're not going to know how to get out. So you will attract, and you will experience in your life what you have been programmed and conditioned to believe is normal. And always pay attention to the conversations you're having with the person that you are meeting for the first time, that you're getting to know. Pay attention to the themes that come up and that you guys relate on. That's going to give you either the red flag or the green flag. Another thing that's also a red flag for me is when someone tells you, "Wow, you're just so too good for me. I don't deserve you." That is literally affirming you that you don't have any worth. Okay? Because why would someone say I don't deserve you if you are equal? You're worthy of being with someone. You're only saying that because you don't feel worthy, and you know that person also feels that they're not worthy too. So you both connect on this unworthiness. Because someone who will accept you for you will not say, "Oh wow, I don't deserve you." It would actually be the opposite. They will never tell you that. They will actually enhance the relationship, would be more uplifting. It would be more connected, more emotional, more understanding. There would not be this thing of, "Oh, I don't deserve you," or "You're too good for me." Because what does that even mean? That's already a red flag. No one is too good for anyone, and no one is more deserving than anyone. We all deserve. We all deserve to be seen and to be loved and to be appreciated and to be accepted. But when someone tells you, and I say this because we're all equal. We all have the same feelings and emotions, and we all want to experience this, you know? And when someone tells you you are, I don't deserve you and you're too good for me, that's already a red flag. And there's no reason why that should even be said, that should be something that's even said. So you have to pay attention to the themes that are talked when you meet someone, like what you guys are talking about and relating on. And I know that the chemicals that rush through your body creates this like high levels of oxytocin, and you kind of just fall into this trap. But you have to be so aware of what is that you guys are connecting on, because if you start to realize that, you will be able to save yourself from being in a relationship that is not going to serve you or that person. So you have to be aware of where are you guys connecting on? What are you guys relating on? What is that connection coming from? Is it like from a good feeling and a good stories and positive ways of viewing life, and it's not from trauma and pain and sadness and loneliness, but from a place of openness and wanting to, to really love and be an enhancement to your life and not drag you down. You have to pay attention to all these things because it's very important if you want to have a healthy relationship. Those are very important things that I have realized in my life. And I think that it can help you as well, because you will be able to pay attention now to what is the narrative, what is the story that you guys are connecting on, what connected you guys in the first place. And it will help you navigate if that person is for you or not. And once you change your energy, you're going to allow people that match that energy too. So it has to do with the inner work. It always goes back to inner work. It always goes back to you, because you are the one broadcasting the signal out. You are the one broadcasting your energy out. And if your energy is trapped in the little box that you were conditioned to be, that is what you're going to bring into your life. So with this conversation that we're having today, that we just had, let me know what are your relationships like? What were you aware of? How you connect to someone matters. Let me know what let me know if you learned anything from this. Yeah, let me know if you learned something from this, and let me know if what I said resonates with you. Let me know your stories below. I would like to see what you guys think. This is all based on my experience, so keep that in mind. But let me know what you guys think below. Let me know on what frequency do you guys connect to your partner. Is it from a place of enhancement and happiness and wanting to grow together and wanting to build something together? Or does it come from a place of depression, sadness, pain, trauma? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Remember to always believe in yourself, okay? Trust yourself, and I will see you really soon. I will see you really soon.